What's up, y'all? Talent Scout back with another video. I'm your host, Terrence Godfrey, and today we're talking more about stimulus checks, stimulus payments, more of that jazz. Reason I'm making another video about this is because something happened. I believe it was either yesterday or the day before. I think we're actually going to get another round of stimulus payments. Yeah, not just theoretically. Well, kind of theoretically, but no, this looks way more legit than anything we've seen in the last 2 months. So let's talk about it. So in an attempt to make this an all-encompassing video, I'm going to start from the beginning because there's been so much information about stimulus checks that have been just announced over the last 2 months or so. Literally ever since the first payments first started being dispersed, people have been theorizing, making predictions, and it's just a lot. So I'm going to start with where we started and then bring it up until today because, yeah, there's just too much info out there right now. So back in March, the CARES Act was passed. So every US citizen who wasn't claimed as a dependent on someone else's taxes, who earned less than $75,000 received a one-time full payment of $1,200, or at least eligible to receive that one-time payment because even to now, a lot of people still haven't received those first payments from way back in March. So you could have received that payment in two ways. One was either via direct deposit if you filed your taxes and had a bank account on file with the IRS, or by using the IRS's direct deposit portal that they released a few weeks after the CARES Act was passed, so you get that payment directly deposited into your bank account. The second option was waiting for a physical check in the mail. Some people received it in the first couple of weeks, while others were not expected to receive their checks all the way until September. So the checks were being distributed based on income, so the less money you made, the faster your check would be dispersed because, you know, it makes sense. So if you make less money, you would think that you would need the money more, which is why they decided to prioritize it that way. So after that, a lot of Democratic House and Senate members started proposing new stimulus checks because, well, let's just be honest. An economic downturn lasting for several months, $1,200 isn't gonna cut it because, like I said in a previous video, even me in my case, I rent a single bedroom here in the Bay Area and that alone is $1,350. So yeah, $1,200, that's not even 1 month of rent. I'm very blessed and happy to say that I still have my job right now, so that hasn't been a big issue, but there are a lot of people that are not as blessed as me, so yeah, more people need the money. So that was the Democrats' idea. A lot of the ideas were about $2,000 stimulus checks or a monthly recurring stimulus payment. The magic number had been $2,000, so just a flat $2,000 per month. That was the first one that really gained some traction. Another one was $2,000 per month, but also the dependents, that would add an additional $2,000 per month. So back with the CARES Act, the dependents were only worth an additional $500. And a lot of the newer proposals, they would have also been worth $2,000, which is a lot more money going into the hands of the family, which can really alleviate some of the burden for, you know, going through this time. Like it's rough for a lot of people. One of the ideas, one of like the earlier ones, since a lot of people are underbanked in the United States, basically means that they don't have bank accounts. There just aren't many bank branches in a lot of people's areas, so they just don't have the accounts. They wanted to be able to disperse these stimulus payments in other methods, that being payment services like PayPal or Venmo or a prepaid debit card, which was interesting to me. My thought process when they first announced that idea was like, well, that's dumb because, okay, so just think about it. So if they're having a hard time shipping out all of the stimulus checks, like if it's gonna take from March to September for some people, what makes them think they can send out these debit cards faster? It's like, I mean, if you can't ship a thing, why would we think you can ship a thing? Maybe the stimulus checks take so long because Trump wants to sign every single one just so you know you got your Trump bucks directly from him. I don't know. I don't really know what's going on there. I'm not in those meetings. Yeah, so let's fast forward to today. I'm going to skip a few of the details. Like I was saying, there's a lot of other videos that are, I guess, kind of irrelevant at this point since it's not going to happen. The IRS direct deposit portal to submit your information is now closed. As of 2 days ago, they're starting to actually ship out those prepaid debit cards for the people that have not received their first round of the stimulus. And when I heard that, I was like, wait, so they're actually doing it? But like now, like it's crazy because it's like they're not going to do it, they're doing it. I don't know, something about actual action taking place just shows a lot more intent behind it. And then my only thought was, well, if they're doing that for the people that didn't receive their first round, like why though? And then that got me to thinking, it's like, oh, they're actually going to do more rounds of stimulus. And here's why I believe that. So with these prepaid debit cards, it would basically give the function of being direct deposit for the people that are underbanked and don't have a bank account on file with the IRS or with the Treasury. I mean, the IRS shared that information with the Treasury. So I know they're not the same thing, but I'm going to call them the same thing because it's easier for the sake of this video. By actually shipping out those cards now to the people that don't have their bank account on file, that makes it a lot more feasible to do multiple rounds of payments to individuals, which makes me believe that potentially this HEROES Act that has already passed the House might actually go through the Senate. So the term that people were using before is like that bill is just going to be dead on arrival the moment it touches the Senate, because there's too many things in the bill, because as you guys remember, it was like an 1,800 page bill. Like there's just so much stuff, and you know how it is. It's like if it's a Democratic bill and then it's going to a Republican Senate and it's just a bunch of other stuff, they're just like, no, I'm not going to do it. So my thought process was like, they're sending like all of their list of demands so they can negotiate somewhere in the middle. The reason I'm thinking about that is like, wait a second. So that means the Republican Party is probably more willing to negotiate since they're preparing for dispersal of additional stimulus payments. So here's what's been going on. So a lot of people, all of our higher ups, they want to see what the impact of the first round of stimulus would be before they go and disperse another round, which makes sense. It's like, let's wait and see what actually happens. Now, I think that's kind of dangerous since millions of people didn't pay their rent last month. Well, I'm gonna say this month in May. I forgot the April stats were, but millions did not pay their rent or mortgage in the month of May, which is, that's not a good thing. With that in mind, it's like, okay, they're preparing and arming people so that they're ready for these additional payments to come through. Now, the HEROES Act, the way it stands right now, there are several things that may get cut. Now, one of the main components was more money to the states. I can imagine that being cut because some states are actually willing to open. And since these states are opening, the whole thought process is like, well, why would we send them more money? Or maybe we would only send the money to the states that are opening. It just depends on however they want to word it. Like maybe there'd be an incentive for the states to open and get people back to work. It's like, okay, here's some money in their pockets. Here's some money for the payroll of the state employees. Let's get these things rolling, get the people back moving, and let's just keep it going. On the other side would be, it's like, well, maybe you could only pay towards the states that are refusing to open, but because, if no one's working, the likelihood that the gears will just start grinding and everything will run to a halt is a lot higher. I don't know, it's really interesting. It's like I live in California and in the Bay Area of California, so maybe like one of the most liberal places in the world. I don't think we're opening up for any time soon, but go a little bit inland. Sacramento's actually already starting to open up. Like they're on stage 2, I think, as of next week. So that's pretty neat. So it's just really interesting to see how some places are opening up, others are not. That might impact how money would be dispersed from the HEROES Act. Going back a little bit. So also another big component was the student loan forgiveness up to $10,000. That'd be dope if they actually did pass it. Personally, I believe if anything's getting cut, it's probably going to be that, because even so right now, interest and student loan payments have already they're on forbearance. So you don't have to make a payment, no interest is accruing. So technically speaking, that money that would be going to the payments could be fueling the economy right now. So actually reducing those balances probably wouldn't impact the economy positively, because the whole thought process is like, oh, if student loan debt borrowers don't have to pay, then that money will go into the economy, but technically right now they don't have to do that, and we're still not seeing the effects. So yeah, if anything's cut, it's probably going to be that. I hope it's not that, because I mean, yay for me. But yeah, I don't think that's going to make it through. Yeah, it's just really interesting that they're prepared to disperse more rounds of payment, because if it was such a cut and dry, no, we're not going to do any more payments directly to the people, they wouldn't be sending out these cards and make it that much easier for people to receive the stimulus. It's like thinking about the long game, thinking about all the pieces and parts that are going into it. That's a really positive sign for the people that need more payments to come directly to their pockets, because the feds / Treasury yeah, they're making it a lot easier for these funds to be received. That might be an indicator that something like the HEROES Act will be passed very soon, maybe even by the beginning of June, because that's kind of when the idea of when the next round was going to be passed and distributed. Still speculative, but this looks a lot more real because they're actually doing a thing. So yeah, I'm going to catch you guys in the next one. Peace.